Welcome back to the Dungeon Master's Corner, and welcome the return of Nicole Summers, aka the Amazing Pied Piper, as well as the debut of Andrew Brown, our very own Craig the Gnomish Barbarian. Today, we will be discussing two of our long-term characters, how they met, and some unintended inspirations. Welcome back to the DM's Corner. I am Brian.
You could speak common the whole time?
That's at the end, sir. Introduce yourself.
I'm
now.
Andrew Brown, and I'm say random things when I'm bored.
And I'm Nicole. I was actually the DM for what we're going to call, which how Warg and Dongo came to be, called the Pie in the Sky.
So I was playing Warg, the full-blooded orc blood hunter.
I was playing Asiel Dongo, or Dongo as everyone calls him, the human lore bard.
So we were running the Banquet of the Damned, which is a one-shot module that I found on the DM's Guild. Definitely recommend going and checking it out. It's a fantastic one. I've run it several times, and every single time Wamford has burned.
Hey, you know what we can do? You know what we can do? We can put the link in the description.
We could. And we will.
We will. Hear that, Matt? You hear that, future Matt?
Also, you say that, but this is the first time that I played Wamford and it didn't burn. I was very disappointed.
It was because we were more lawful characters this time. This was the only time.
This was the only
Wamford
time
didn't
it
burn.
did not burn.
I was very disappointed.
Every other time it did.
If you're wondering what we're talking about, you can go back to the episode Wamford Burns or the episode Wamford Must Burn.
So basically, the whole concept with the Banquet of the Damned is there is a pie contest, which gets interrupted. And the best way that I had for these characters to end up in Wamford for the pie competition was they were delivering a pie for a sweet little baker from Waterdeep.
And there were four of us delivering this pie, if I remember correctly, because this pie needed an entourage.
Apparently. This was the most important pie that existed in Faerun.
I mean, it had to get to the competition in one piece.
Of course.
And Dongo had the most important job. He was my translator.
Translate for my orc friend who apparently did not speak common. And it was like...
Not a lick of common. Not a lick of common.
Nothing. And I was translating for him the entire time. The entire time.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
So
Which is why he didn't have to listen to Commander Crush's stories because he didn't understand common.
Yeah.
The very talkative turtle. Barbarian, no less. He was an old man barbarian turtle. And he knew I couldn't understand him, so he didn't bother telling me the stories, which was so nice. That I didn't have to hear his stories because I didn't speak common. I think you all know where this is going.
Yeah, probably.
So they begin their investigation, checking out what's been going on with the competition, and it comes out the fact that...
Well, we don't want to give spoilers because some people might want to play this one. But the enemy comes to a head.
Mm-hmm.
And so, Warg is a very simple-minded individual. He sees a demon, he has to kill it. Simple as that.
Dongo just got dragged along for the ride.
He just got dragged. He did not know. This is a simple translation job.
And pie. I love pie.
And everyone loves pie, but there was a demon attack at a place. So I grabbed Dongo because we're outside. We're talking to the alchemist, and I tell him in Orcish, "There's something happening at the church. We gotta go." So we go. We fight them, and then we have to go find somebody. And to do so, we have to travel through these woods that have elves. And my memory is sketchy.
So they go into the forest, following the path. Nala's helping them out. And the elves ambush them, dropping a tree to block their path, and their whole thing is to attack from both sides. And Warg calls out to them to cease the attack. In common.
That's right, that's why, because they didn't speak Orcish. and I wanted to parlay.
Yeah, and that's when Dongo stopped the entire fight with the person right in front of him going, I'll get back to you in a moment, you son of a bitch. You speak common? And those were my exact words as I looked up at Warg in Warg fashion, completely ignored Dongo, and going back. But at this point, Dongo had cast Fairy Fire into it was a shot in the fucking dark. I rolled attack just to make sure it got near the area she was because they were stealthing and I didn't know whether I hit them or not. And basically the Fairy Fire was going to light them up. I hit.
You lit their leader. You hit their
and
leader.
That's why she parlayed with us because I was just like,
yeah,
parlay. Fairy Fire goes bye-bye.
So that was one of our first interactions with each other. I hired you as a translator because I didn't want to talk to.
Yeah, and he pretty much Warg didn't care and probably didn't listen to a single word. But Dongo, the entire ride back, had very strong words towards Warg of an entire discussion that Warg just wasn't paying attention to probably anyway.
Not at all.
But he was just like,
not at all.
Demons? Yeah, speak common. What the just going, what the fuck, bro? What the fuck?
Yeah, I'm a demon hunter. That's basically how that was. I'm a demon hunter and I don't like talking to people, so that's your job.
So
now.
they were intending to go up to, because of the demon hunting, go up towards Istamane, up near 10 Towns, but they gave Dongo the map.
Yeah, never give Dongo a map. Instead of going north, we went west somehow?
No, we went southeast, I think.
East towards the
Southeast, that's
Anorok
what it was.
Desert somewhere.
Yeah, we ended up in a desert. Instead of the frozen north, we ended up in a boiling desert, which was terrible for my skin.
Hey, Warg.
Yes,
Don't be
Dongo?
mad, but I had the map upside down.
I'll kill you! This is actually an interesting one because we had played Banquet of the Damned with these characters as one-shot characters. And then it was Matt and who else joined us for this next one?
Carly joined you.
Carly joined
That's how
us.
you met Percy, the Dragonborn Paladin, and Enoch.
Right, so these characters we met, and we were like, hey, I don't really feel like building a new character. Can I just use, I think you wanted to use Dongo. I'm like, if you're using Dongo, I'm just going to use Warg.
And he's like, sure, why not?
And so we went through this, and we have detailed stories about Enoch and Percy that'll come up at some point. But this was just kind of we were fleshing out our relationship on this one. Dongo got us lost, and that's how we got there to meet Enoch and Percy, and
They successfully went through also a module from the DM's Guild called the Temple of Shavaka, which is also linked in the description.
yeah, so we went on another. But this time it was a dungeon delve. It wasn't a mystery. We were working on a dungeon delve together, learning how the other character worked, and I think this was around the time we really started to like these characters.
This is when I realized certain spell combinations, Bane and Blindness and Deafen. Blindness and Deafen
Done at the
are
same time.
not a concentration spell.
It's duration so he can focus on Bane, and it is the bane of my existence.
Now here's the question: were you able to cast haste at this?
No, I was not.
Not yet.
That was
He
not
was
my
not
level.
able to. He
No,
was not able to.
That came up later.
Haste the werewolf.
Yeah, I was about to say we haven't mentioned yet what Warg was. Warg was Order of the Lycan.
A blood hunter.
So Blood Hunter, Order of the Lycan.
And Dongo.
And so I turned into a werewolf. And so Dongo is a fantastic support character. Andrew built a wonderful support character. I'm not sure if that was your
I didn't even mean to. I just realized once I realized what spells were duration and concentration, I was just like, he is pure control. This man controlled an entire battlefield. 4 creatures were on him once, and they could not hit the bard.
I think it was 4 werewolves were trying to attack.
It was.
And it didn't work. So with an amazing support and battlefield control with a werewolf blood hunter, we became almost an unstoppable team. The two of us worked so well in conjunction that when Nicole was like, hey, I want to run Rime of the Frost Maiden, I was like, Warg, please, and you brought in Dongo as well, and they became permanent fixtures.
They became best friends.
They became best friends. You're like a brother to Warg. You're like, Warg loves Dongo in his own Wargy way.
Dongo loves Warg. I feel that Dongo, pretty much Dongo realized that first, and Warg eventually reluctantly was just like, true.
But I think the thing that, and we'll go into a lot more detail in another episode, the funniest part of this is we built these characters over the course of a few months. We fell in love with these characters. We built them up, and then our friend Gina goes, "You guys realize that you're basically Geralt of Rivia and Jaskier from The Witcher?" And we both stopped and went, "Fuck!"
Yeah.
That's exactly what it was. Unintentionally.
And we realized it. Like, we had started playing Rime of the Frost Maiden, and then realized it.
Pretty much, yeah. No, it was funny at that one moment of just like, God damn it.
that beautiful moment of clarity.
It's kind of like that one saying that nobody's original.
Everything is a remix.
Yeah, everything's a remix. You may have not actively tried to take it from someone else, but there's a high probability that someone else came up with a similar or closely adjacent idea to what you already have, and it's always funny how that happens sometimes.
But it's always your individual twist on it that makes it just yours and memorable.
Oh yeah.
It is the monomyth. Every D&D game is proof of the monomyth.
And it's funny, like, I like Dongo because I'm not playing the average bard, which our friend Gina loves so much because I'm a committed bard. Like,
he is a bard to be looked up to. But again, I believe that is a story for another time. So I think. So I have a question for you, Nicole, because usually we like to end these with a what did you learn? What have you learned from Dongo and Warg? What have we taught you as our monstrous unintentional Witcher characters?
That sometimes one-shot characters, you can just absolutely fall in love with them and bring them into other campaigns, and you can just flesh them out. They don't have to be just one-shot characters. You can do a lot with them. And DMs, don't be afraid to let your players bring in other characters that they've made.
Thank you all for joining us for another wonderful episode of the Dungeon Master's Corner. If you'd like to support us, please visit our Patreon at patreon.com/reliablychaotic. And maybe buy us a cup of coffee. You can also drop us a line on Twitter at reliablychaotic. We'd love to hear from you. I have been Brian.
I am Andrew Brown.
And I'm Nicole.
Bye.
Hope you enjoyed.